No, yeah, I think that's really insightful. I've never thought of it in the sense of like how you talked about, accounting's the language of business, on chain's the language of money. I think that's really insightful. Yeah, I mean, like on chain, we essentially just have like X-ray vision of what's going on with all these market participants, and the data is the truth. And like as you said, you have the data, and then you have the analysis around the data, right? And so like when I first started studying this, like my analysis of the data, just because I was new to everything, like it wasn't great, right? Because I like first of all didn't have a great understanding of it. But separating the analysis from the actual data, the data is indisputable, right? Like we're pulling it from a blockchain. It's even people like to talk like, okay, what if you're manipulating the data? Well, if you're manipulating the data, it's just showing what's going on in the data. Like, like even if I'm still analyzing what's happening, right? And I completely agree with you. I think of it as we're essentially the economists of Bitcoin, right? And the problem is like I've said this before, and then like all the hardcore Bitcoin people were like, yeah, well, that's a terrible, like, you don't want to be an economist. Well, it's like, I mean, the way I see it is like, well, economists haven't had, indisputable data from a public ledger before, right? We have so much granularity, basically are tracking all the transactions that are going on any given day. And that's like privacy aside, right? Like there's like what Chainalysis does in the sense that like they're looking at who it is. I could care less who it is, right? I just want to understand what's the market structure. I could care less about who the individuals are doing things. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I see it, that we're basically like the economists of Bitcoin. And as we move forward, this will be more and more important. We'll have new metrics come in. When you look at the stuff that we even had earlier this year, I think a lot of, kind of the silver lining from like on-chain analysis perspective of the bear market, the mini bear market over the summer, that's what I've been calling it lately, is that, you had all these new metrics, this whole family of these supply related metrics specifically that we now have, that, now these are at like the forefront of my analysis. We didn't even have them before May. And so I can't even imagine, in the next year where we're going to be. It's really cool to see, people like you. There's all kinds of new analysts that I see popping up on Twitter that are pushing out new metrics, and it's a very tight knit community in the sense that like someone else will put out a metric, I'll build something on top of it, or Dylan will build something on top of it, right? And it's like this self feeding, we're open sourcing the information, but that's the reason why I really want to push the explanation of this stuff so hard, is that if I explain it, it might hit off a light bulb with somebody else, and they might run with some metric that I created, right? And then they might take it a step further, and it just we can all win together in this little niche thing for now. I think at least for now, because it's so small in terms of where I envision this going. I think like on-chain analysis in I'm talking about like 10-20 years, it's going to be huge, right? I think there's a good chance by the end of the bull run, you'll probably see on-chain metrics on like, mainstream media like CNBC and stuff.